The Dallas Wings won the WNBA Draft Lottery for the 2025 WNBA Draft, and this is a historic or will be a historic pick. If the UConn guard Paige Bueckers declares for the draft this season, she will be selected #1 overall. What this means for the Wings is a transcendent player coming into their franchise and leading them into places that they have not been since can't remember the Detroit Shock days. Now, it will be interesting to see because Paige right now is hands down by far the best player in college basketball, and she will most likely go #1 overall. But it'll be interesting seeing how pairing a person like Paige Bueckers' stature with an Arike Ogunbowale in the backcourt will just transcend and evolve the game of the WNBA. Now, Arike was saying, "Thank you, Lord," after Paige got drafted, and just peep this tweet. And the fact that there were a bunch of other reactions, and it just turned out great. Maddie Siegrist is in the building. She was the person that was there as the WNBA announced that Dallas would be getting the #1 pick in the draft lottery. And it's just a bunch of greatness. I was hyped when I saw this pick. And the fact that now there is a serious question if Paige goes to Dallas, will they form the best backcourt in the WNBA? I picked Clark and Mitchell as that this season because Clark was on first team all WNBA performer. And then Kelsey Mitchell in her own right, I believe, if there were all WNBA third team, I would have selected her on it. But now you have a person, the Dallas Wings they're in a great position because now not only do you have Paige Bueckers, you have Arike, so now you can move her back to being off ball, even though she primarily plays off ball. But you also have Satou Sabally, who they're thinking about coming back and bringing back into the fold. Now you have a big three right there with all perimeter-oriented players. They just have to fill out the rest of their roster. You can get a Maddie Siegrist that can bomb away from three, and Paige will find her open looks. You can also have JC Sheldon, who last year was drafted by the Wings, but putting her in the fray of this, they can even run 3-guard lineup sets. Like, just think about it like this. They could have a lineup, and I'm not saying that this should be the starting lineup at all, because if it were me, I'm starting Paige, Arike, and Satou, and I'm bringing in either 2 other guards or like a Maddie Siegrist and in a center like Kalani. But what you can do now, if you're trying to even spell Paige or spell Arike, you could bring JC off the bench. Or you can also have a 3-guard lineup where you have Paige, Arike, and Paige, Arike, and JC playing together. And then you could just slide Satou over to the 4. And then again, or you could put her at center, honestly. You could put her at center and then just put Maddie Siegrist in. And then you have a really small ball lineup that could just run back. And the fact that you have her on this team, there are a bunch of combinations and rotations that is going to change life in Dallas. And the fact that you have this player that Paige is, she won AP National Player of the Year as a freshman. And this is over Clark. This is over a bunch of other players. And I don't believe there has been another collegiate player that's done that in the women's side. So the talent is there. And people talk about, pre-injury Paige. She was not an above the rim player anyway. So even if having an ACL injury or having injuries to her game, it's not gonna make her worse because she's a highly skilled, very efficient point guard who can shoot, pass, and dribble. She gets to the mid-range ad nauseum. She has a handle like off the dribble. Like Paige Bueckers can do just about anything on the court. Now she might not be as prolific from the 3-point line as Caitlin was, but it does not change the fact that you're pairing her with an Arike who is already established as I put her as number 7 in the league or 6 in the league. I put her she's top 10. I put her as 7 to 8 or one of those 2 numbers, maybe even higher. But the fact that you have an Arike Ogunbowale and then you have another person who I deem as a top 5, top 6 player in the league and Satou Sabally, the possibilities are endless for this Dallas Wings team. I expect them to go to the playoffs. I expect them to do a bunch of great things this season, and I might even expect them to have a better record than the Indiana Fever, than the Atlanta Dream, Los Angeles Sparks, Washington Mystics, even the Connecticut Sun, who were in the playoffs. I might even say they might be better than Seattle. We'll see. And if that's so, then they're a top 5 seed in the WNBA. And that's just because of, I'm not saying because of one player, but adding in Paige is a huge mix to this team. Now, there will be adjustments being made for any rookies, just as we've seen this year, and with most of them, the physicality and the pace. But for me, I see Bueckers as a low turnover, high efficient. She's the type of person that's going to score 50-40 or shoot 50-40-90 in the WNBA. And she'll be in there for a long time to come. So she, again, Paige Bueckers is the real deal. Shout out to the Dallas Wings for getting this #1 pick. And what are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the chat.